So welcome back to the physics class. So in the last class, you have seen about how to write the dimensional formulas, and also we have gone through one of the application of your dimensional formula. I hope we studied about deriving the equation t is equal to 2 pi into under root L by g. Again, I have given you a PDF which contains various physical quantities and their dimensional formulas. Okay, so again, in that you might have seen, okay, namely four type of physical quantities. So the physical quantities I told that day something which we can measure, right? That was classified as a physical quantity. So out of it, I'm trying to say that there are four type of physical quantities. So you can classify it as four. One is the dimensional variables, again dimensional constants, dimensionless variables, and dimensionless constant. So when I say dimensional, it do have dimension, right? So there is dimension, there is a proper dimension and variable. So I am saying, okay, some physical quantities they are having dimensional, they are put under dimensional variable category. I can say that they are having dimensions plus their magnitude, right? So if I am saying, let's say, force. So force, it can be 2 Newton, it can be 5 Newton. So it's variable actually. The value it varies depending upon the magnitude, right? So this is nothing but the magnitude. This is your unit. Newton is a unit and 2 is its value. You call it as a magnitude. So the value it changes. So you call it dimensional variable. So the example is nothing but force, then your length, then okay, velocity. So all those things I can put it under the category dimensional variable. So it includes force, velocity, pressure. Okay, your force again. Okay, those quantities which are similar to force, the reaction force, the thrust, so all those things they are having the units Newton, right? Then coming to dimensional constants. Again, you have seen some constants, right? You have studied about certain constants till now. So can you remember one such constant which you have studied? So you have studied about gravitational constant, right? So whenever there are two bodies, there is a force of attraction between them. So you studied that in class 9. This force, it is proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between their centers. So you got F is equal to g m1 m2 divided by r square. So g. So we have seen that this particular value or this particular quantity g, okay, it is going to have a dimension. So you know what is the dimension of gravitational constant and value. And you know that this particular value it is a constant, right? So the value was equal to 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 11. So that was your g value, right? This value remains fixed. So I call it as a constant. Okay, its value is not going to vary. So one example is your gravitational constant. And any other constants which you have studied? Okay, there is one more which you should, if I am saying about some constants, the very first thing that should come to your mind is the 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter second raised to minus 1. And do you know what this is, right? So of course you know it has the velocity of light in vacuum. So the velocity of light in vacuum. Okay, specifically you have to say under dimensional constant the velocity of light in vacuum. The other velocity, okay, it falls under the category of dimensional variable. Or you are saying something with regard to a particular object. But here it is a velocity of light in vacuum, which is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter second raised to minus 1, which remains a constant. So that is another example for your dimensional constant. Then coming to dimensionless variable. So those quantities which are not having dimensions. So you know that if I am taking the ratio of two length, right? If I am asking, okay, magnification, suppose. So magnification, you know, it is equal to hi divided by ho. When I studied in optics, height of the image divided by height of the object. So being ratio, are there any dimensions for these quantities? Of course no, right? So they don't have a dimension. So I can call them as dimensionless. The magnification is equal to HI divided by HO. So H, the dimension will be L divided by L. The dimensional formula, okay, not dimension, dimensional formula. So both being the same, there is no dimension as such. So I can call this as dimensionless. Okay, sometimes you refer these as having a dimension equal to 1. Okay, anyway, they are dimensionless. But your magnification, it can vary. It can be 2, it can be 3, it can be 4. There is no particular fixed value for your magnification. So I can say that your magnification, it's a dimensionless variable. And another one, okay, your theta angle, it is equal to arc divided by radius. Again, both of them, they are having the dimensional formula, okay, having the same. So again, they are going to be dimensionless. Okay, magnification, angle, then your strain. You might have seen in the equation provided, strain as equal to the change in length divided by the original length. Again, both being having same dimensional formula, they will get cancelled, and finally that is a dimensionless quantity. But they do have a value which is variable. So you put it under the category of dimensionless variables. Again, coming to dimensionless constants. So when you write the equation, t is equal to 2 pi into under root L by g. Okay, this 2, it is dimensionless. Does it have any dimension? No. It's a number. Again, pi 3.14. Again, it is having a value 3.14. Okay, not accurate, but we are taking it as equal to 3.14 in our simplification. Again, the value, it is fixed, so it's a constant. Again, does it have any dimension? No. So it is a dimensionless constant. Again, if I ask you, you might have heard about Avogadro number, right? Represented as NA. Okay, maybe I studied the representation as NA. So Avogadro number. So under which category can you classify this Avogadro number? So can you put it under a dimensional variable? So your Avogadro number, it can be classified under dimensionless constant. Does it have any dimension? Because it is the number of moles, number of molecules per mole. So again, being a number, it's dimensionless. Again, the value, it's a constant. Okay, I don't know the value exactly, but you have studied it, it's a constant. Have a constant. So now coming to the principle of homogeneity of dimensions. So as the title suggests, homogeneity of dimensions. Similarity in dimensions, so uniformness in dimensions. So the principle, it states that a physical relation is dimensionally correct if the dimensions of the fundamental quantities, its mass, length, time, are the same in each and every term on either side of the equation. So if the fundamental quantities, that is mass, length, time, if they are the same, that means the dimensional formula should be the same. Okay. So a physical relation. So when I say physical relation, like V is equal to U plus AT, or S is equal to UT plus half AT square. So those are the examples of your physical relation. So such a relation is said to be dimensionally correct. Okay. If the dimension of the fundamental quantities are the same in each and every term on either side of the equation. So if I take an equation, A is equal to B plus C. So think that B is your mass M1 and C is your mass M2. So you will get total mass M. So you will add these two masses to get the total mass. But if I am saying, okay, this mass, it is moving with a velocity 25 meter per second and acceleration 20 meter per second square. Okay, will you take the total mass as equal to the addition of acceleration and velocity? No, you can't take like that because that is not logical. So if you want to add two quantities, it should be of the similar. That means they should be of the same quantity. If it is length, if you want to find total length, it should be the individual length. And if it is a mass, it should be individual masses. Total mass should be equal to the sum of the individual masses and not any other quantities. So the same your dimensional, okay, homogeneity principle also tries to say. So if the quantities, they are the same, of course, the dimension of the fundamental quantities will be the same. So if m1 plus m2 will be giving you mass, then the dimension will be m here. Here also the dimension will be m. Here also the dimension will be m. This is nothing but total mass. So 5 plus 6, let's say 11 kilograms. So again you are going to get m. So this is what your principle of homogeneity of dimensions is saying. If I want to write A as equal to B plus C, then the dimension of B and C, they should be equal so that I can add. And even if I add it, okay, again I should get here in A the same dimension as that of B and C. So I can write A as equal to B as equal to C. The dimension of A should be equal to B, which again should be equal to the dimension of C. So if I want to check, okay, S is equal to ut plus half a t square. So here it is of length. So this should be also the same as that of L. Again, this should be also half the dimension of that of L. So we will get m to the power 0, L to the power 1, t to the power 0. So here velocity Lt raised to minus 1 into t. So again you will get L to the power 1. Again here half, it's a dimensional, okay, half, it's a dimensionless constant. So it is not dimensional, it does not have any dimension. Again it is a constant value. So again Lt raised to minus 2 into t square. So again you will get it as L. So all our, if you look, L plus L. Again this is in accordance with your principle of homogeneity of dimension. Again it is true if you are considering the case where A is equal to B minus C. If you want to find the difference of the masses, okay, two masses, m2 minus m1 is equal to again m. So even in that case also your principle of homogeneity of dimension is valid. Again actually we are putting our general idea. You can add only two quantities which are similar. If you want to add two length, you will again get length. So here instead of that quantity, you are changing it to the dimensional formula or its dimension. Okay, that's only different. And now on the basis of this principle, I can now come to one of the uses of your dimensional formula or your dimensional equation. So already we have studied about deriving the equation. As you see in the last class, T is equal to 2 pi into under root L by G, which you studied, right? So here the next application of the use is to check the correctness of an equation. Okay, to check the correctness of an equation. Okay, when I said to check the correctness of an equation, it is not, we can't say whether it is exactly correct or not. But what I am trying to explain here is the correctness in its dimension, whether it is dimensionally correct or not. Like if I take S is equal to, in this case, ut plus half at square, I will get L. Okay. But I don't know whether, okay, if I am replacing this half with 1 by 8, let's say, even in that case also I will get the dimension as same, but the relation correct actually. Okay, in other words, I can say that it is not correct, exactly correct, but it is dimensionally correct. So I can only say about the dimensional correctness, the consistency. So that is again on the basis of a principle of homogeneity of dimension. So if I take a equation, let's take Fs is equal to half m v square minus half m u square. Again you are familiar with this particular equation, right? This is work and this is energy. So this is your work energy theorem. So the dimension of force L t raised to, m L t raised to minus 2 into L. Okay, so ml square t raised to 2. Again energy and work, they are having the same dimension, right? ml square t raised to minus 2 minus ml square t raised to minus 2. Again don't write it as equal to 0. Okay, that is not correct. Just write it as ml square t raised to minus 2. So you are getting the same on the left side and on the right hand side. Again, why I said don't write 0, because magnitude can be, okay, 5 and 4. That means again you will get 1. Okay. Again, if v is equal to u, in that case you can take it as equal to 0. Okay, so don't write it as 0. So that is one application where you can check the correctness of the equation. So t is equal to 2 pi into under root L by G, the equation for the time field of a simple pendulum. So time period, dimensional formula T. 2 pi being a dimensionless constant, no need to worry about it. L by G, L divided by LT raised to minus 2. Again, on going up, it will become T square. So finally, you will get it as T. The left hand side and the right hand side. Again, there is a under root, square root, right? So I got it as equal to T. So your LHS and RHS being the same, I can say that the equation is dimensionally correct. I can only say that it is dimensionally correct. So if it is, I can only say this is dimensionally correct. If it was not equal to, okay, if the LHS, if it wasn't equal to RHS, that means there is some possibility of some error involved in this particular equation. Now coming to the third application, that is converting from one system of unit to the other. So think that you are having a physical quantity Q. So okay, the physical quantity, I am considering it as force, let's say. So force, I am taking it as Q. So this force, it can be either 2 Newton in one system of unit, let's say SI, and in another system of unit CGS, it is dyne, right? So Newton and dyne. So your quantity is force. Or if I take length, again your length, if I take it as 1 meter in SI, it will be equal to 100 centimeter in CGS, right? So I need to convert from one system of unit to the another. So right now I need to convert from, let's say, SI unit to the CGS system. So your physical quantity, if it is length, I will write it as, okay, 5 meter or 500 centimeter. So I can write it as Q as equal to, okay, so it is equal to N1 U1. So 5 meter. So N1 stands here for 5, U1 it's unit meter in SI system. And same quantity, okay, that is length, can be written as 500, that is N2, and U2 is its unit, that is centimeter. So in one system of unit and in the another system of unit, which you need to convert from one to the another. So I can write its dimension of this particular quantity in, okay, the system of units. In one I am taking it as m1 to the power a in one system of units, so I am taking it as 1, and the second unit I am taking it as 2. So I am expressing in terms of ml and t mainly. Okay, so why we are not taking the other quantities, that we will see in the limitation part. Okay, so for the timing, only ml and t. So m1 to the power a, l1 to the power b, and t1 to the power c. And the same quantity in another system of unit, it is taken as m2 to the power a, l2 to the power b, and t2 to the power c. So its dimensional formula is now expressed. Again, this q, it is equal to n1 u1 and also equal to n2 u2. So I can write n1 u1 as equal to n2 u2. So it will be like I am writing, okay, the length will be equal to 1 meter, it is equal to 100 centimeter. So that is what I am trying to say here. Q is equal to n1 u1, which is equal to n2 u2. Now substituting, okay, n1 I don't know, so I am taking n1 into u1, m1 to the power a, its dimensional formula, l1 to the power b, t1 to the power c, which is equal to n2. We need to find its value in another system of units. So n2 into m2 to the power a, l2 to the power b, and t2 to the power c. And from there, n2 will be equal to n1 into m1 divided by m2 to the power a, l1 by l2 to the power b, and t1 by t2 to the power c. I know it's difficult to understand from what I explained here. So let's have a look into one problem where I convert from one unit to the another. So coming to your first question of this particular part. So 1 joule is equal to how many erg? So you know joule, it is a unit of work. So the quantity, so we have written it as Q is equal to N1 U1 is equal to N2 U2. So the work is equal to N1 is 1, U1 is joule. Okay, but I am expressing it in terms of dimension. M1 to the power A, L1 to the power B, T1 to the power C, which is equal to N2. That is what I need to find. I don't know what is N2. Into again m1 to the, sorry, it's another kind of unit, so I have to take m2 to the power a, L2 to the power B and T2 to the power C. So I have written the dimensional formulas. Again, I can write the dimensional formula of work here. So M L square T raised to minus 2. Right, so from here, from this dimensional formula, okay, if it is equal, I can write, okay, I will come to that. So from here, what is N2? So N2 will be equal to 1 into M1 divided by M2 to the power A, L1 divided by L2 to the power B, and T1 divided by T2 to the power C. Right, into it is equal to this one divided by the right side part. So now you need to find what is A, what is B, what is C. So for that, again, this was equal to your work. So you know the dimension of work. Okay, work as such, you know its dimension. So that is equal to M L square T raised to minus 2. So your A is equal to 1, B is equal to 2, and C is equal to minus 2. So the dimensional formula of work, M L square T raised to minus 2. From there, if I equate the powers, so 1, 2 and minus 2. Now M1 is in SI unit system, and okay, all the 1s they are in SI unit system and all the 2s they are in CGS unit system. But I need my answer in CGS system. So that will be equal to, that means 1 kilogram divided by 1 gram. Okay, that is actually written. So you need to convert this kilogram to gram. So that is equal to 1000 gram. You have to make it uniform. Then only you will get the answer in erg. Into, so to the power 1 into 1 meter divided by 1 centimeter, that is 100 centimeter divided by 1 to the power 2, because B is 2, into T1 divided by T2. Again, second no need to use that here, into just 1, that is sufficient. So you will get 1000 10 to the power 3 into 10 to the power 2 the whole square. So that will give you 10 to the power 10 to the power 7. Okay, 4 plus 3, so 10 to the power 7. So 1 joule, it is equal to 10 to the power 7. So that is how you can convert from one system of unit to the another. In a similar way, you can convert 1 Newton into how many dynes. So all those things you can make use of this particular dimensional formula. Actually, there is no need to use this dimensional formula, or else we know how to convert, right? If you know what is 1 Newton, equal to how many dynes. So you can convert such things. Again, there are limitations for this dimensional formula. If the unit given is, let's say you need to convert 1 kilowatt hour into some other unit. Again, watt and hour. Watt is an SI unit system, but hour, it's not an SI unit system. So if the system of units, they are uniform, you can make use of this particular application of dimensional formula. So there are limitations for all these dimensional equations or dimensional formulas which we study. So but for your understanding, it is being given. So to just verify whether it is dimensionally correct, you need to study it. So in the next class we will see with certain numericals the problems, all those things.